And welcome back to still my favorite podcast in the world. It is I, John D, and
Kanika
with Doing Too Much Podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing well also. I'm caught up with the things that I needed to be completed for the day, so I feel very sufficient with my day so far. I'm looking forward to this afternoon going to play chess with some folks, take Dallas with me so we can see if we can learn more about the game and, get better.
True. And then we'll follow up with a little bit of extended family getting together. I wanted to ask you, talking about family, there's not much that I know that at some point you talked to us about changing our last name. What did you want to change our last name to?
The Great.
The Great. So I was thinking about names and legacies and history and things like that. And so I don't know if we've ever done this, but there was an exercise I did where we told the story of our name. What's the story of your name? How does it?
Like a restroom.
Shut up. So I'm thinking first, middle, last. What's the story behind it? Is there a connection to history, to your family, the legacy, and what has been your experience with this name growing up? Like, what's your own, part of that name? How do you feel about it? How does it make you feel?
It's interesting. So I guess John, I was named after my uncle, my father's youngest brother. His name was John Michael Lewis, but he grew up as Mike, Uncle Mike. And I just found out within the last 2 or 3 years that my great-grandfather name was John Lewis. I did not know that. So, just growing up, I just knew my uncle was, his name was John. And then, learning about the civil rights leader, John Lewis. And then I wanted to separate it, and I wanted to be John David Lewis. So, but David is in my family because, my grandfather's name is David, my father, me, now my son, Connie's kids have that. Oh, no.
No, just the oldest son.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of Davids.
Yeah.
But David was included in my name. I started going by John David Lewis because I wanted to, I don't know, I thought it was like I was being more distinguished.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that I was actually on the road to be trying to become a complete scholar, but I thought at that time that it just sounded better. And I remember I wanted John David Lewis webpage, and somebody else had it, and it was an older white guy. I think he's still around also. So I was like, I guess I won't ever get that. But he's done way more things. So, I mean, I'm not even knocking it. He's definitely made that name. He's done more for that name than I've done for mine. So I have nothing but respect for that man or anybody else with my names. But I guess growing up, I learned that it was named after a bathroom in 6th grade, for real. The John, yep. I became John D when I moved to Saginaw, because I just started writing John D. Lewis, but I didn't think anybody would ever call me John D.
Mm-hmm.
And yep. I remember my signature always had a D in it. And then I moved to Saginaw, and that was the first time I was called something else other than John or Little John. Mm. Yep. I was always John or Little John. And when I got to BB, Buena Vista High School in Saginaw, or Buena Vista Township, John D came up on the scene, and I was like, "Oh, that's kind of live." So I didn't even make people call me John D on everything. It was just like they started calling me John D, and I was like, okay, I'm John D now. So that was what it was. John D, that name came from Saginaw.
Did that name take on a different personality or persona than John before you got to Saginaw?
No, not at all.
So you were the same from Louisville to Buena Vista to State?
No, I wasn't. I felt like I was more exposed to kids my age, though, definitely, because I had already moved. Like I moved to a whole different state a year before I went to college. So what I was going through my senior year in high school, I saw all other kids go through it their freshman year. So I had matured. I could see that I matured because I remember, and I didn't know it was because I had done the year before, when I was leaving my household to Saginaw, watching kids go home every weekend. Like they was like, I gotta go home, and I'm like, in my head, I could not understand, but I used to cry every weekend, my senior year, because it was so slow in comparison to what I had come from, and it was like, I wish I could have figured it out then, like when things got quiet, but yeah. So John D was the funnest version of reckless abandonment. Like, he didn't want to hurt anybody at all. It was like, whatever the funnest part of the day, he wanted to be a part of it. And he wanted to orchestrate it or be like, that shit always happens when John is around. And I was willing to, I guess, hurt people's feelings. And that's the way it looked, now that I look at it. But it was all from just a fun place. It was from the funnest place. It wasn't to really hurt anybody's feelings. Because I guess when when you get talked about so much, you just think that everybody has that skin. So when I did those jokes, I didn't think anybody would take it seriously, correct. And to look back and you try to apologize and like nobody knew that I was that immature. It was like, shoot, I'm just trying to make sure that everybody has a good time, because I don't know. I feel like when I was quiet, nothing. It was just quiet.
And people could be okay with that, but she was like, "This isn't the greatest fun."
It is not the greatest fun. Yeah. So, but now, I feel like I'm John D again, though.
Really?
Oh yeah. I feel like I understand. I can still control a room.
Do you think that, so just to break from here real quick, I remember when we moved to Atlanta, everything kind of got a little slower. You were like parent John and work John, and you opened a cigar bar. And I remember when some Michigan State friends came down, specifically Mike Jr. Mike Jr. never stopped calling John D, even though in Atlanta, he was John. The friends we had from State just called him John. Everybody at work, the new friends he made or whatever. But Mike Jr. came and he was like, John D. And it kind of got me, because I was like, I felt like that meant that he didn't think you grew up. And I felt like you were different. So now when you say you come back and you feel like you're John D, do you think other people think you're John D?
Okay, so I was thinking about that. I was like, this is interesting. But his John D is not my John D. You know what I'm saying? So I guess his John D is the John D that's
reckless.
Reckless as far as will say anything to get a laugh, will throw anybody under the bus.
Drink, have a great time.
Yeah. Like do something that's going to make everybody like that John.
But that's not how you defined John D back then? Because you say
that was I was in my element. But that was an insecure guy that was in his element, and I think it was like it was the best, it was the realest version to say, But I'm looking now, I feel like I can give the realest, like I can feel that way. Like, so John D was just like, whatever happens, happens. Now I feel like whatever happens, happens, but I know what to say and what not to say. So to me, I feel like I'm comfortable in my element. You remember when I first started Diverse Clarity, and I was just like, I'm just nervous. I'm like worried about what I'm gonna say. Now I'm not ever worried about what I'm gonna say.
That's the other thing, because didn't he always introduce you as John D? And I remember when you first started that, the people who knew you from State was like, this is not you.
Yeah, they did.
Like, we don't want this one. That's not John D. That's John. That's Mr. John. That's John Abu Dhabi, but it's not John D.
OC Gaines was like, man, you got so much more to give, man. You like, just like I did not understand what he was saying. He's like, you seem like you're holding back. I'm like,
yeah, I think that's how I feel like the people who knew you in your prime John D years would not want you to use that title without being that same, having that persona. It's like this, they feel like, I don't know if it's evolution, difference, change. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, you're different. When you were John, and you were having to prove yourself to whether, bullies or whatever, or people would talk about you, you were thickening your skin. It's different than when you got to Manual.
Oh, yeah.
And you were secure. Then it was different when you got to State. Then it was different when you got, out into the world after graduation.
It all matured. It just all matured.
So there's no different name that would go to this era of who John is.
No, I think John D. Lewis is the mature version of whoever the past to me was, like the maturest version that I've seen. Like I said, I still believe that I can control the room, but I can control it with positivity and great energy. I can do it where, I feel like people are still wondering what the heck he's gonna say, but it's not like it's not to the demise of anyone else. Like, I wouldn't throw nobody's going to be the butt of my joke, so whatever I'm going to say, people still anticipate what is he going to say versus, I mean, they still say it, but they don't have to be scared. Like, like I feel like everybody, it's a safety thing. Like, okay, so John still has something to say, but you don't have to worry about being called out.
Yeah, like that quiet moment right before they feel like you're going to choose a new person and then they draw attention to somebody so that you don't come near them. Like, John, did you see such and such said this? You're like, oh, and then now you get to target that person, not so like who was running away from you. That's different. Yeah, the John you are now is nice. I guess I kind of felt like, how would you evolve again? Because it seems like every part of your life you change a little bit, and so does kind of like your name or how people see you or identify you. Well, so that's interesting.
I think I can see the next evolution of what I'm going to look like. I believe that you and I we're probably going to talk less. But enjoy each other's company, and because I feel like I talk so much around you because I'm trying to figure out how far it can annoy you, or why aren't you being annoyed, so I cannot do it again. I like the limit of it, and it's not doing it on purpose. It's just trying to figure out, did she recognize I did this? Does this matter enough? And that's why sometimes I just ask you random questions, because I want to know your temperament. Because if I don't know, then I could do it again, and then you're just like you're creating tallies, like, and then it boils over because you don't correct me immediately until you're extremely irritated. So I have to figure a way to get you to give me something so I can make sure I don't do it again.
Okay.
So if that makes sense. So like, I just think about, if I keep working on myself, because it's going to get to a point where you won't, like, look, do you remember when I used to open my mouth, you'd be like, oh.
Oh yeah. But it's funny because my mom used to feel the same way about me. And so I really got to taste my own medicine. I used to sit there and be like, is he going to say something that may be seen as offensive? Like, it used to make me feel some kind of way when you would just say whatever came to mind, and women would look at you and they might have this look on their face like, ugh. And then it's like, some women would say, girl, I don't know how you could do it. And I used to hate that shit. I'd be like, look, I'm the only one that has to do it, so everybody just leave me alone. And sometimes I'd be like, I don't either in my head. But
you know what's crazy to me? Like, to hear that in my head, I felt like that got me the most attention.
It did. But sometimes, I mean, all attention ain't good attention.
No, I get it now. Mm-hmm. But in my head, I felt like,
yeah, well, it would draw attention to me too, and we all know I don't like that.
Oh, I know. Oh, I know. Definitely now. So I look, I didn't know how to listen at all then, and I'm still learning how to listen because Lord knows I talk too much. But I will say that, when you start to observe more, you don't hurt people's feelings as much. So it's just trying to figure out how to shut up and just observe and listen.
Yeah. The other thing that I wondered about you and your name is being biracial. Did you ever feel some kind of way about your name? And all of your cousins that you did grow up with for a while in Louisville all had traditional Korean names.
Well, I was blessed to not have a Korean name when I was little because I was already bullied because, how many times they couldn't understand why my name was John and didn't have a Korean name. Like, you ain't really Korean. It was like, just throw a can down the street and we'll call them that.
Wow.
Oh, look, I'm telling you, I done went through some. But, I mean, that was tough little kid stuff. Like, you had to just figure that out. And, man, I heard all kind of Asian jokes. But when my cousins came and they went by their Korean names, so in my head, I never thought anything was wrong with their names until kids in my neighborhood started to get introduced to them. Mm-hmm. I'm like, hey, y'all, this is my cousin, Jung-hoon, Miso, Unami, and Yoon-jung-gi. And then they was like, what? Oh, like there was no filter. It was just like, we can't say names like that. And it was just like, then it just became like, they didn't disrespect them in their face. Mm-hmm. But when they were gone, I got all of it. It was like, oh my gosh. Like, I don't even want to like repeat majority of the stuff, but it was just like to the point where I'm like, thank God I got an American name.
Wow.
Like, it made me feel like that because I was just like, oh my gosh. But yeah, like, but as I got older, I was like, I was embarrassed for a long time because I just couldn't understand why anybody would care that much. But yeah, that was a tough time then. But as I got older, I was like, I guess I could have taken a Korean name, but I would have been a different person. I think I would have probably left the black community if I had a Korean name. Mm-hmm. I don't think I would have made it.
Why? You feel like we're not accepting?
Oh no, I think I would have just broke down.
You feel like you'd have to choose?
Oh no, I'm saying like I think I would have just became an introvert.
If you would have taken on more of your Korean side, even a Korean name, you'd become more introverted.
Oh yeah, no, I would have still grew up like the way that I grew up, but I think I wouldn't have like created relationships with black people. Yeah.
That's hard to think that you would have to stay away from one side of who you were if as simple as a name, you had a different name. I mean, even being John, you have one of the most commonest Eurocentric names ever.
I did. And you know what's so crazy? Just thinking about that, like, that was like one of the safest things ever.
Yeah.
Like nobody could talk about it. Even black people that would, like, you got a white boy name, but like everybody's like, well, you don't have to worry about certain things in the future, like when you get older,
resumes and stuff.
Yeah, so like that was already in my head. So I was just like, my parents was looking out, and they wasn't thinking about that. Well, maybe I don't know, but at the end of the day, like I felt like having a traditional name did save me. Now I'm jealous that I am not the person that I am with a cold ass name that my parents created. You know what I'm saying? Like that would have been dope. Like if I could have been the person I am today, and I like went through it, but I don't think I was strong enough then.
Okay, so you had a rough time growing up with John. Your sister's name was Connie, and when we were growing up, there was Connie Chung was really, really big. So what was it like for her? Do you know?
Yeah, well, I always pictured her as being way easier than me because, she was China doll. She accepted it. There were girls that were jealous of Connie. She's Black and Korean, but, guys thought she was attractive apparently because she accepted being Korean. And I mean, like she accepted it when she was even little anyway, because I remember when she used to ask my mother to go on field trips, and I was embarrassed. You know what I'm saying? So she kind of just rolled with it. It just worked out. And then, like when people like in middle school, that's the toughest part of childhood that I can recall. And that was when, these girls used to call me soy sauce and fortune cookie. I mean, if you look all in my yearbooks, they're not here anymore, but they used to call me soy sauce and fortune cookie. And it was like it was the Jerry Curl Juice girls. No lie, Jerry Curl Juice girls. They know. Look, I'm gonna tell you the
name.
You
know who you are.
Yeah, look. Hold on.
We gonna name them.
Yes. Tarika with Terry. But her real name was Tarika Kenyatta Glover, Stephanie Baldwin, Tytresa Pitney, the Jerry Curl Juice girls. No lie. They know. Like they signed as Jerry Curl Juice girls too. They all had Jerry Curls, and like they were like they were the Jerry Curl Juice girls for real. It's just crazy.
It's interesting because 3 of those names were very Afro. I'm not even gonna say Afrocentric as much as saying Black American centric type names. And so it's like, for me, having the name that I have growing up, I was a lot more accepting of people with ethnic names that were difficult to pronounce or people brushed off because I knew how it felt. So I think I've told people before, there was a classmate I had, his last name was Proxeavon, and they made his name a spelling word for us so that we took the time to spell his name out, be able to say his name correctly. And back then I didn't realize that, that was very important.
It was.
I'm sure for him and for us too, not knowing, but it's like when you have a name that is not Eurocentric, I would think you would be more thoughtful of people, like not to mess with other people who kind of have the same type of struggles as us. But at the same time, we're kids. So I guess we can be jerks. So the Jerry Curl Juice girls all called you soy sauce in school. Huh?
Soy sauce. And Koreatown.
Fortune cookie, you said?
And fortune cookie. Oh, man.
But Connie got to be China doll.
Oh, yeah. China doll, Connie Chung. She was whatever she wanted to be.
And she was okay with that. Yeah,
that was her groove. Like, I didn't appreciate being Korean. Well, I guess in high school I did, but nobody called me those names. I guess when you go out of middle school, like every high school is different. Like, and then like if somebody's talking about you, they was hating. And now the woman's voice is a lot stronger. So if guys are talking about other guys, it only matters with what the women are saying. So Black and Korean was really popular then. It was popping. Look, I brushed my hair too. Hey, look, I was brushing my hair for real. Like,
you needed the waves, huh?
Yep. Look, my dad. Look, that's one thing. My dad. He was like, because I told my dad he had waves, and I was like, he was like, if you brush yours, you'll have way bigger waves. I started brushing it. Yeah, Black and Korean, brushing your hair. It's a different type of attention.
It's interesting because it was really hurtful to you as you were younger, but then you kind of came into your own and you started to own it. Because college, was it in college that you started like talking about, yeah, I'm Black and Korean, or was it in high school?
Oh yeah. I mean, people, college is when I started telling. Because he
started leading with it.
Yeah, I'm Black and Korean. Yeah, just want you to know, like I look like this. Yeah. This is the only reason why I'm handsome is because of my parents. I have nothing to do with it. But it's like one of those catchphrases, like, let's see what this dude is talking about. So it was funny, and it was just like, if you could, like, I always was told that if you can make a woman laugh, you good. Like, it didn't even matter, because if you know how to make a woman laugh, no matter how hard it is, you can make her laugh. Mm-hmm. So I felt like that was easy. That was an easy icebreaker.
Yeah. I think that is also good when you, something that was an insecurity as you're younger. You started
so that's what I realized too. I used to, I just throw out the ugliest stuff and make it a joke. And we're going to see and then after nobody says anything, well, nobody can talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
Yep, I do that in other areas too. Since you said that, I just realized I did that like a few weeks ago. I was like, oh, I didn't know I was doing that. Yep.
We learn something every day, something new about us.
Yeah, because man, Black kids gonna be tough, and then that's what I said. Like once you adapt to the culture. Mm-hmm. I was the last person that they didn't want me to figure out how to survive. Oh yeah, like it was easy to make jokes up. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like, that's why I said I was like, as I got older, I never matured for my age range. I brought the survival skills of a youth through.
And you just kept using.
Yeah, and that's when when I retired it. Kickball.
Oh my God. Kickball John was a nightmare one year. You talked about everybody so much.
Yeah, but that was when I was like, oh, people don't be competing like that. Remember I said that? I was like,
it's like, oh.
Like I'm telling you, like those, look, I used to hoop for real. Okay, I did. I used to hoop and I talked trash. And I may not have been as good as the trash talking that I was good at. But, whenever you compete in anything, whether it's pool, bowling, you going to talk trash and you want to get people out their element. Man, we was like, everybody said that, like, kickball was fun before I came. And that I had to grow up. And that's when I was like, dang. I really thought that everybody competed that hard, but they didn't.
Did any part of it, how did it impact you when Dallas said he was watching and his perception of you after watching you with kickball?
Well, yeah, that hurt my feelings because Dallas wanted to talk trash. He thought that's how you talk trash. And I'm like, you can, but, you got to be able to take the trash talk also. And he didn't have that experience. I had the experience of already going through, like, nobody can talk me out of my game because I've already gone through what the worst anybody could say to you. So Dallas did not know that was a part of the process when you talking trash.
He just started trash talking. He was just getting really good at Monopoly deal, and I never wanted to play cards with him after that one time. And I remember it was at one of your kickball games. And not long after that, there was a specific game you had where it was like you really pushed people to the edge. Like they either had to be on your side because he is on my team or they were like really after you. And I think that made a real big difference. You stopped him before he got to that point. Yeah,
because even in that championship game, I was a different person. I didn't say anything, and everybody waited. Like all the other teams waited to watch the game. Like I ain't gonna lie, I thought we were gonna win. Like I really thought we had a better team, but we lost, and they handled us, and it was like nothing that we could do about it. It was an impressive win. And they were talking trash, right? I was like, man, that was a great game. Like I was impressed. Like that's how I'm talking to them. And they was like, no, you can't respond that way.
And they've been waiting to get him to business all season.
Yeah. So the other losing teams are talking trash. I was like, they were great, weren't they? I was like, no, I had matured that quick because I was like, dang, I've never seen like people really waited to see me lose. And I was like, I had a friend, like a really good friend of mine, Trey. Trey said, man, I'm so happy I'm on your team because I think I would have killed your ass.
Now that is not a good thing. However, yeah, I remember you telling me that.
So look, so that's what I'm telling you. Like as I matured, my name, it kind of just dropped some things along off that I didn't know I was carrying from my childhood. So I feel like my name got, it got its name the way people looked at it. But to me, I felt like I was this person that was like, I ain't gonna lie, like when I made John David Lewis for real, I was on I wanted to be this distinguished guy that was willing to do whatever it took to get to the top. Like who's gonna put the time and effort in. And I was like, this is putting my stamp. Like I'm gonna accept this responsibility, and I didn't realize that it was a real responsibility in it. And then I was like, "What am I doing?" I was like, "Just be you." And I guess John D was just the funnest version of me. So I feel like when I was John D, like everybody had a good time, and I want that part. So I think I can still continue to be that John D, but the best part of me is like just giving them the energy and positive vibes, versus the reckless ignorance of a child.
I think there were a few different things that when I think about how you describe different parts of your life and the names that you were assigned at that time. So
you know what, my pause there. My mother used to call me John Day Lou, like when she was mad, like, or she was looking at me, John Day Lou. Like that's what she sounded like. Yeah. So, and then that's when, like, I know it was John David Lewis.
Yeah. But
then you hear my friends like, John Day Lou don't make me come. Like, nah, they calling me John. So that's what I'm saying. I had to really go through like, man, them kids was hell.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you were around your cousins, did you feel comfortable and
I did.
Were you a different person with them, or were you the same kind of person?
No, I think I was irritable. I think we got along. I didn't do nothing to get on their nerves. Like we was all the same age.
You were irritating or irritable?
Irritable, because like I was just thinking about like they were real calm.
Oh, okay.
And, I was so
you
I
were
could
busy.
Yeah, so I don't know how they looked at it, but they seem to love me today. So. And they never felt like they, when I do talk to them, they never made it seem like I was a bad cousin. But yeah, that was temporary. That was like a couple years.
Yeah. I'm just curious. You think about people and it doesn't seem like it's that important. Like your name is just your name. But people have connections to their name that are not just, I was named this because of my family, but your name has actually evolved a number of times and it's like different people. I don't know how much I've actually changed over my time. My name, people have really just always called me Kanika, but I think it's interesting because I don't think everybody thinks about everything associated with their name, the persona they have, the other people's perceptions of them, their perceptions of themselves, those who knew you and those who didn't, and how those perceptions might have been different. Because those kickball people, they knew John, but my John wasn't the kickball John.
Yeah. You know what? I didn't think about that because I didn't know all those people that play kickball.
Yeah, but that
So
John,
yes, oh my gosh, I did get to know people. It was like, man, we hated your ass.
I think that it's interesting because there's so many John David Lewis's, and I'm not saying as in multiple people. I'm saying you.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many yous that are floating around in people's history, in addition to your own, and what name you took on and how they perceive that person. It's like a trillion of us running around.
You ain't lying. And I guess this is ultimately what decides how real your name is the consistency of what everybody says. So like I trust and believe that my intentions were genuine. You know what I'm saying? Even during the worst John whatever version, I believe that people knew that it wasn't to take advantage of anybody. And
one of the big things we talk about now is intent versus impact.
Yeah.
How your intent can be whatever it is, but your impact is what weighs the most. What regardless of what you went in and hoped to do or put across, what was it that actually took place? Yeah. What experience did you create for other people?
That's what I believe. That's what I'm saying. I believe my impact is way more than my intent. Like my intent was to do and I feel like my impact, even to the worst, whatever. Even like I was thinking about the kickball people. I ended up becoming friends with a few of them on the teams, and I believe that once they got to know me, that if it ever came up, be like, you know what, that dude wasn't that bad. He was just really competitive. Like I got to talk to him. You know what I'm saying? Like he was just really. Like he ain't really like that.
Well, but there were some that might have never seen you ever again, and then that was.
Oh yeah. I know.
What I'm saying. So then that impact weighed more than the intent.
I know, but like I feel like, I'm referring to the ones that
got to know you.
Yeah, I feel like that impact will pack more than that. I do understand because I probably won't see them again. If I saw them again, they would like, I remember this when you were this person, because they wouldn't get that same person.
Right.
So I wouldn't even like, I can't talk to him because he's an asshole from kickball years ago.
Yeah. Do you think that, well, I guess you are, or you do, but there was someone I heard them talk about, there's someone that is constantly referring to the person I was in my past, and I don't live there anymore.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering, what, I guess there's nothing you can really do unless you interact with someone later on and they can see who the new person is. But there are some people who will continue to see you in your new self and not believe that you're your new self. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that I've had a recent,
and that's
experience.
For anybody. I mean, but go ahead.
Yeah, I had a recent experience, and it was interesting because I've had a relationship with this person for over 20 years, and the person wanted to, I guess I just felt like it was miscommunication, and I wasn't effective enough. But I was trying my best to listen, and he said, "You just like I thought you were. You ain't changed a bit." And I was just like, "Oh, I'm doing something wrong. Let me get out of this." So I just kind of like walked away. I disengaged from it, and somebody came to me and was like, "Calm down, man." I was like, "I am calm, but apparently I'm not." Like I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So we ended up going back and talking again, but it was, to me, I felt like I wasn't in a place to be able to express, like, what can I do to make it better? You know what I'm saying? And I couldn't say it, but it was just like, I don't know. But that was an uncomfortable situation because I feel like I've been so good with being able to express myself so the person can receive the message. And then it was just like, that happened. But overall, I feel like, people can't believe that I'm this person. Yeah, they was like,
and they're looking for something that will show that you're the same person, something that'll take you.
I won't say that.
This is the same guy I remember.
Well, no, like now the people they say they can hear the passion in my language. Like I used to, like man, you was like you could always sell something, man. And it was like I can see you're really you're really about this, and I'm like I am. This is what I want to do. So
do the majority of the people that knew your past self, are they accepting your new self, or is it mixed?
Well,
where
people,
some aren't.
I guess it just depends on how close they are to me, and then I believe the people on the outside they love it, like because they've been watching it from afar on social media, and they just like when they hear me, they was like, man, I can hear it in your, when you talk, and it was like, so, it's pretty dope. But Bruno. You see it? The caterpillar.
What?
It's a caterpillar.
Oh, that thing is fat.
Bruno, stop.
Wow. He would eat it. Okay, this is like at 34 minutes. He would definitely eat that.
You want to go inside? No.
Oh, I definitely didn't see that big old thing. Shh.
I'm going to put you inside. All right.
So I'd asked you if it was a mixed bag of who accepted the new you versus the old you.
Yeah. So
those who felt like you weren't changing. Go ahead.
Yeah. I guess. Hold on, Bruno. Go inside.
He said, "But if you don't close that door, I'm gonna come." Oh, good.
Don't
boy.
bark.
35.
All right. I guess there's been people closer to me. I would say they've accepted it, but I just had this conversation with somebody the other day. Like they accepted it, and you can't expect everybody to walk with you. They'll get there when they can get there, and it's different because I don't know what to talk about sometimes, because I don't want to be that guy, like, oh, here we go again. So it's like, it's just trying to figure that balance out, because I still love all my friends from childhood up until adulthood. But,
who do you need to be okay with who you are now?
Oh, nobody. My family. You and the kids understand where I am. I'm good. If nobody understands where I am, it's because I haven't been able to learn how to communicate it. Because if they understood, they'd be like, oh, then they was like, man, that's live. Damn, I would, I'm just trying to be a better father and a better husband. And if you can't understand that, then I haven't been able to put the words together for you to understand it. But yeah, overall, I mean, I like to stay focused.
Do you think that there's anyone in your past that you were like at so much of an extreme that you understand if they wouldn't be able to see that you've changed?
No, I think if you put me in front of anybody again, even including the person I was referring to, I can make them and understand where I am, and that whatever they saw was a shell of me. I was just really trying to fit in. Not only fit in, but I wanted to be the best person fitting in. Like I wanted to shine.
You were competitive.
I was, and yes, I was. So that was who I was. Like I was a person that wanted to be the coldest amongst the men that I was around, and that's the only thing I can come up with. Like I thought the things that I was doing would be like, dang, giant up on it. But a lot of the things that I did I didn't get those results. So, I guess as time goes on, I'll be able to express that without all the word salad.
Yeah. What do you think, when you think about your kids, we're closing this out soon. You think about your kids' names. What do they mean to you? I know what we intended for them to mean when we started out, but when you think about who they are, do you think that they're living up to the name you intended? Did you have any intentions in regards to the type of person they were?
No, I didn't. But I feel like as I feel like the names worked out, because when I think of like, even like when I think of their names, like I think Day is being great.
Yeah.
You know, and then when I think of Dallas, as much as I hate like the sports teams from well, the Cowboys, I think of the Dallas Star. You know what I'm saying? So even the hockey team, the Dallas Stars, and in my head I'm thinking like my son is a star for real. So it's like as time goes on, it's like I make it make sense, because I'm feeling like if you create a name and you can't make it make sense, you know, so I feel like it was purposeful, you know. So it wasn't like I came up with this and it was like we couldn't put nothing into it. Like it was like, let's name him D'Antonio.
Please don't.
It's like, why did you name him D'Antonio? It was a D name. You know what I'm saying? But Dallas, I'm like, can you put D'Antonio? You was just like, you know, I liked Antonio Banderas, and I had to have a D.
First of all, it was Antonio Banderas.
I know, I said I like Antonio Banderas, and I had to use a D.
I thought you were talking about Coach Antonio.
Oh, no. No.
Oh, that was a whole different part of our life. Okay.
Oh, yeah, then you like, if you like, you're a Spartan, you'd be like, I'm Michigan State, so it's D'Antonio. Like, but at the end of the day, I feel like it made sense.
Okay.
For sure. I even like David. Like, I didn't even think about that until you kept David in the family.
Yeah, I did. I wanted that there. Yeah, I did. Okay, well, I guess that was my curiosity with you, since you've gone through so many different changes and even the exercise. So I would just tell everybody. So the exercise, oh my God, do you see how big that spider is? Okay, anyway. So in the exercise, like I said, and I suggest you guys talk to people at home about this if I hadn't mentioned it before, but you ask people what the history of their name is and their feelings around it. Like, you know, I guess you were relieved because it was more Eurocentric, and you would have been more afraid if you were more Korean.
I don't think I would have made it, because I'm telling you, it's dark being Korean and black.
when you mix your culture and the way that we interact with one another, and the names we have and things, it could be a lot of weight behind it. Are you named after a family member that hurt you, or a family member that you don't respect? Were you named after someone you have no connection to, so the name means nothing to you at all? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's an interesting conversation to have with people, to find out the history behind their name, and also just how they associate with it. Personality, feelings, shallow and deep. But yeah, that was all I was interested in today.
No doubt. Anybody you want to give a shout out before we get out of here?
I'll give a shout out to my mom. In the 1980s, she named me Kanika, name. Everybody was a name, but she was determined to have kids with K names, and she wanted me to have what she said was a beautiful African name. And I had a rough time with that, being in a world where people wanted to just spit your name out, and however it came out, they wanted that to just be your name, and it was really hard with abbreviation, you know, people trying to give you a nickname, or can I just call you this, or brushing it off when they don't say it correctly. But I appreciate my name now. So
I know it's dope. Like, that's the type of stuff I'm talking about. Like, I wish I could have had a code name and been able to be where I am.
But you know, even with Dallas, like we told Dallas, originally his middle name was a Korean name. And there have been a couple times where he talked about how he had wished he had that name. So now I'm wondering, John, if you want to start looking into what would the name be that you would want, what Korean name would you take now as a man who loves that part of your culture? Like, you don't have a feeling now, you know how to manage yourself so that there's no shame attached to it.
I'm good.
And still operate in your culture.
For sure, I'm good. Like, I mean, I feel like, as you know, I continue to learn the language. Maybe things will change in the future, but as of right now, I'm good.
maybe we won't change the last name to the Great. Maybe we'll add another middle name. You know, y'all like to have 4 names in your family. So, so maybe something will change in that. Yeah. Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
To you.
Oh.
Because, you know, I married a woman who has a name that she's proud of, and she knows how, you know, it's hard coming up with ethnic names that, you know, when you live in a country filled with majority and you got to go through, you know, different types of ways people pronounce your name and all of that. And if people even feel like they want to pronounce your name correctly. So, you know, my name, I didn't have to worry about anybody pronouncing my name wrong. So I can only imagine, you know, the weight that can go on you. Like, if you're supposed to be like, okay, oh, well, don't worry about it. Or no, somebody needs to worry about it because I'm important too. So shout out to you, you know, for being able to carry that weight, because I know you had to go through it.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Y'all make today better than yesterday. Be great on purpose. Boom.